Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Liz and this is A Catholic Mother's Journey. I'm really pleased you're joining me today. So today's video is all about the urgent need to deal with any unforgiveness we might have in our hearts. Do we need to forgive? Do we have any feelings of resentment we need to let go of? It might be understandable we feel resentful when we've been hurt, but Jesus teaches us the importance of forgiveness, doesn't he? And so we need to deal with these things, with any unforgiveness, with any resentment, as an urgent priority and not to just leave them. Holding on to unforgiveness can have such a negative impact on us, body, soul, and spirit in so many ways, can't it? If we leave those feelings deep down inside of us, they can fester, they can get worse, they can cause us to grow bitter, can't they? They can eat away at us. And when we hold on to unforgiveness, it becomes our sin. So that's the case even if the original cause of the resentment and the hurt was somebody else's sin or mistake. It's like we've taken on the sin ourselves. So we really need to deal with these things. When we bury feelings of resentment, it's like we temporarily forget about them so that we can get on with life. It's like they're not there anymore for a time, but they are still there. Some people are better than others at doing this, I think, compartmentalizing. Some people do it well. They can put that thing to one side, that painful memory, those painful feelings, and they can function in life and get on as though that thing isn't there, but it is still there. And actually it can be more uncomfortable to deal with it, to face it. It's easier to just carry on and try and forget about it. It's uncomfortable to deal with these things, but we have to. When we forgive, on the other hand, we have peace, don't we? We let go of that thing, there's no more resentment left, and we have peace instead. It might feel like an impossible thing to do sometimes, but when we do it, we have the Lord's peace. You know, we can hand over that thing to the Lord that seems too big for us to conquer. We can hand it over to him. We have the Sacrament of Reconciliation, don't we? Which gives us that sacramental grace we need to help us let go of things, to let go of resentment and be forgiven of that sin. And we can pray for the person as well, can't we? We might need prayer too. We might need prayer. We might need to ask for the grace to forgive that person, and we can pray for the person. That's very effective in helping us forgive people, is to pray for the people who have hurt us. So this message about the importance of dealing with any unforgiveness we have came up for me one day when I was about to start some prayer time. I was all ready to start some prayer time. I even had some prayer intentions in my mind that I was going to pray about. And I sat down and I started to read from the Bible, and I read this verse, and it's from Galatians 6, it's verse 7. Don't delude yourself, God is not to be fooled. Whatever someone sows, that is what he will reap. And when I read this and meditated on it, I felt the Lord bringing some areas of unforgiveness to my mind. These were things from a while ago, and they were things I hadn't been thinking about. They weren't really on my radar anymore, to be honest. I think I thought I'd already dealt with them and those feelings were gone, but these feelings kind of started to well up inside of me, these old feelings of resentment, and I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting to spend some prayer time praying about other things, but the Lord had other ideas, clearly. At first I was like, wow, I was about to start praying, and then these areas of unforgiveness came and started to make me feel a bit worked up and emotional and resentful. So this must have been an attack of the enemy. You know, it must be the enemy trying to distract me and disrupt my most holy prayer time. But then I realised it was the Lord bringing these things to my mind. I had my prayer intentions in my head, but he had other ideas. He knew what I needed to deal with at that moment. He knows the right time, doesn't he, for us to deal with things. He knows when we're ready. And I think inadvertently, I'd invited him to talk to me about that anyway, because I was like, Lord, I want to hear your voice. I want some guidance. And I did hear from him, didn't I? But not in the way I was expecting. I was I was wanting to hear from him on other things, but he had other ideas. So that was a very humbling experience for me as well. So going back to the verse from Galatians, God is not to be fooled. What we sow, we will reap. So God knows everything, doesn't he? He knows all the hidden things in our hearts. He knows all those murky, dark, hardened areas of our hearts, doesn't he? He knows that we might have unforgiveness in our hearts. He knows about it, and we can't hide it from him. You know, it's all very well me wanting to sit down and have prayer time and pray about other things, but for the Lord, the priority was to deal with these areas of unforgiveness that were deep down inside of me and needed to be dealt with, even if they weren't on my radar at the time. He knew that that was the priority. The state of our hearts is very important to the Lord, isn't it? He doesn't want us as Christians, as his children, to be going around with unforgiveness in our hearts, does he? He wants to clean his temple. That's us, isn't it? And as we know from what Jesus taught us, it's super important to forgive one another. We are to forgive each other so that our Father in heaven may forgive us. So I thought I dealt with those areas of unforgiveness that the Lord brought to my mind that time when I was trying to pray. I thought they were done and dusted, but he knew I had to deal with them. And when he started bringing them to my mind, I started to feel that resentment and that emotion work up inside of me. We really need to get to the point, don't we, when we're forgiving, where we no longer feel angry or upset when we think of that person or those people that hurt us or that thing that happened. We need to get to the point of feeling peace. So for me, those things weren't on my radar at all until I sat down for prayer time. I'd obviously bury them. And this reminded me of a verse from Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 24. So then, if you are bringing your offering to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar. Go and be reconciled with your brother first, and then come back and present your offering. Now, this is saying, isn't it, that resolving conflict is so important, that it has to happen before we can worship the Lord and carry out sacred actions. We can't do that properly until we've dealt with conflict. And unforgiveness deep down inside of us is like an inner conflict within us, isn't it? So the same goes for unforgiveness. We really need to deal with it before we can then worship the Lord sincerely. So we don't want to let that unforgiveness inside of us burn away and eat away at us, do we? We need to instead quickly reconcile. Now, with forgiveness, when we forgive someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that we reconcile with them in the sense that we become friends with them again. It may be that someone's hurt you, you need to forgive them, but that person will no longer be in your life. You know, you may not see them again. But it means reconciliation back to God because we've let go of that sin of unforgiveness. We need to do that quickly. And we can't worship God properly until we've dealt with those things first. That's what this verse is saying. It says, deal with them first before you pray. You know, for me, in my prayer time, in my example, it was like an intervention from the Lord. He was like, this is more important than those 10 or 20 other things you have on your list. This has to be dealt with as a priority. And then when we experience the freedom of forgiveness, we're able to worship the Lord more sincerely. Our prayer is more effective. And we are able to receive Jesus far more easily when we've rid our hearts of these things. For example, when we go to Mass and receive Jesus in the Eucharist, it's a really good idea to go to confession beforehand and to confess any unforgiveness we might have, especially. So the message of this video is deal with any unforgiveness as soon as possible. Don't put it off. It's urgent. None of us know how long we're going to be alive on this earth, do we, bluntly? So let's have that lifestyle of forgiveness where we forgive quickly and don't hold on to things, because then it becomes our sin, doesn't it? But the good news is the Lord gives us his grace, and his grace is enough for us to do this. It might seem impossible, especially if it's something really bad that's happened to you. You know, it's understandable you might feel upset, but the Lord's grace is enough for us. Now, if it is something big and you're maybe struggling to forgive, sometimes it doesn't happen straight away. Sometimes it's a process. So we have to keep praying. We have to keep handing it over to the Lord again. You know, we might feel we've dealt with something, we're free of it, but then it comes back. You know, that kind of happened to me in the example I was talking about earlier. I thought I dealt with these things, but they hadn't gone. There was still stuff there that I needed to deal with. So we have to keep praying. We have to go through this process of forgiving, you know, praying for the person, going to confession, praying for the grace to forgive, and just handing it over to the Lord. So I really hope that video has blessed and encouraged you today. Please do take a moment to like and share the video with anyone who comes to mind when you're watching, who you think might like to see it. Thank you so much for watching today. I pray that you have a really blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. So until then, God bless. Bye.